I'm not sure how being raised in a musical family influenced me in my career as a DJ and producer, but it definitely helped me in a sense that music was for me always something very natural. It's something I always had around me if I was playing it or I was listening to music. It's always been a very important part of my life, and for everyone in my family as well, of course. Um, I think it must have shaped me as well, being okay and good with melodies, of course, like having a lot of melodies around me when I was young. Like, it's something that I guess is hardwired to my brain. I think my parents were okay with me. I wasn't born a DJ. Like, I studied, I went to university and stuff. Um, and later on, I even worked. I was working as an interior architect, and then after a while, I decided. I was always doing music on the side, and that's after a while, I was like, you know what, music is going so well. I'm just going to try. I'm just going to try to make a living out of it. I'm gonna quit my job and try to only do music. And my parents were understanding, I guess. I mean, they're both in music, so they understand that if you want to do music, that's something you just really should do. I don't know if they always understood so much the music I was doing because they're more from a classical music background, but they really appreciate it. Like they still nowadays really appreciate it. It's just not always as easy. Also because they're a very different generation, of course. It's different kind of music. I was DJing first, but then I was like, you know what? I would like to make my own music as well. And then there was this small little machine that you could buy called a groove box, and you could make everything. You could program your own beats and make your melodies and arrangements and everything. And it was just a very easy way of making music. Probably nowadays, no one would really understand what a machine like that is like anymore because everyone makes music with a laptop. But back in those days, you couldn't really. There was no laptop that you could use for making music, and even on a computer, it was quite difficult. So you always needed some hardware instruments. I guess I bought my first real musical instruments in the year 2000, and my desktop computer back then as well. And I did a lot of production inside the computer, but I also bought like a mixer a bit later and some synthesizers, some computers, and I slowly built up my whole studio. It was quite small at the time, and I really had to be creative with it, which is a good thing as well, because if you don't have so much, you get to learn everything really well, and you really focus on the few things that you have and make the most of that. Yeah. Oh boy, there's a lot has changed in the studio since then. I think around 2008 I probably made a switch to make music mostly inside the box. I still have all my hardware, drum computers and synthesizers, but I didn't really use them so much anymore since then. So that's a big change, of course. Although recently I did decide to buy some new synthesizers and to kind of go back a little bit to the way I was making music maybe 15 years ago, because it's sometimes when everything's in a box you have to very much make music with your brain. You have to really think about how you're going to make everything. But when you just create music with a few machines around you, like, you make it more spontaneously, which creates a very different vibe. Oh, that's a good question. What I miss sometimes is I think a lot of music nowadays can be quite clinical in a way, and I think when this electronic music and dance music started, I feel maybe sometimes there was a bit more soul into it. Nowadays people want very quick results, so they get very quick sample CDs, and they use a lot of parts that are made by other people already, and it's less about creating music and more about just putting sounds together to make something, and then the end result is not always as convincing and interesting, because things sound a bit like I really miss the soul sometimes in the music, because music is only really music if you put your soul into it. And that's maybe also one of the reasons why I kind of went back to making some more hardware music, and just with my equipment, because it's much easier putting your soul into it than using your mouse and drawing notes on a timeline. My main influences back in the days must have been guys like Derek May, Kevin Saunderson. I think all the Detroit guys, Jeff Mills, Carl Craig, all these artists that really paved the way for, I guess, people like me to come up with their own kind of music. They really made beautiful music. Especially Carl Craig was always such a great producer. Derek May, very good DJ that was very inspiring and very determining for my own sound. What I think about it. What do you think about it? I don't know. I think for me, music. A lot of the music that I make, I do try to put my heart and soul into it. And I like music that is quite driving in the one hand, but also melodic. And I think that combination can become quite trippy sometimes. I don't know what it is. It's not many people ask me this question, but it's a nice question. I like that drive that always is going with, some elements that are evolving in time. I think someone else who's really good at doing this, probably much better than me, is a guy called Sebastian Mullard from Sweden, part of Minilog, and he actually makes everything pretty much real time, and he does this driving as this driving grooves that just never stops, and makes all these melodies on top of it, and creates something out of nothing. He's amazing as well. Yeah, Spectrum is basically a new night that I'm going to start in 2017, and it's about celebrating diversity in music.